Chosen ones, listen closely. There comes a time in every journey when the storms we feared turn out to be the very winds that carry us higher. If you're someone who has ever been pushed aside, misunderstood, doubted, or even betrayed, then this message is for you. Not because you're weak, but because you're strong in ways they never saw coming. They thought your silence meant surrender. They believed that your setbacks would keep you down. But what they failed to realize is that pressure doesn't destroy diamonds, it creates them. And that's what you are becoming. You were never meant to blend in. You were never meant to disappear into the shadows. You were born to stand out, to shine so brightly that no darkness could ever hide you. Those who tried to dim your light didn't understand its source. They believed they could control your path by spreading lies, setting traps, or speaking your name in rooms you've never entered. But what they never realized is that light doesn't need permission to shine. Your power is not something they gave you, and so it is not something they can take away. The very schemes they built to harm you are now crumbling under their own weight, because life has a way of balancing itself. What they wished on you is now circling back to them. They watched you rise after every fall, and it scared them. It scared them not because you attacked them, but because you didn't. You didn't need revenge to prove your worth. You didn't need to shout back or sink to their level. You simply kept moving, kept building, kept growing. And that's what made you unstoppable. They mistook your kindness for weakness, but your calm in the storm, that was your armor. Every insult they threw only added another layer of strength to your spirit. You are not here by chance. The trials you faced weren't accidents. They were placed on your path not to break you, but to shape you. Every disappointment, every betrayal, every lonely night, these were not punishments. They were preparation. They were the training grounds for your strength, for your wisdom, for your purpose. And now, when they see you walking taller, glowing brighter, standing firmer, they can't understand how you made it. Because they saw the pain, but they didn't see the purpose. Your journey is not just survival, it's transformation. You've turned every trap into a stepping stone, every rumor into a reason to rise, every closed door into redirection. While they were trying to break you, you were being built. And now, you are standing on ground they never imagined you'd reach. You carry scars not as signs of damage, but as proof that you overcame. You are not a victim of their darkness. You are the proof that light always finds a way. And now, the same people who once underestimated you are uneasy in your presence. They don't fear your voice. They fear your very existence, because it reminds them of everything they chose not to be. Your resilience is a mirror that shows them their own fear, their own insecurities, their own mischances. They hide behind masks, false laughter, and empty chatter, but you've seen the flicker in their eyes. You felt the shift in the room when you enter. That's not paranoia. That's the weight of your truth shaking their illusions. It was never about what you did to them. It was about what your presence reveals about them. Your strength, your light, your peace, it exposes what they've buried. And rather than face it, they attack what reminds them of it. You didn't ask to be their lesson, but your life teaches without words. You are the evidence that truth outlives lies, that light cannot be erased by shadows, that purpose doesn't shrink under pressure. The beauty of your journey is that you don't need revenge. You don't need to explain yourself to those who are committed to misunderstanding you. The universe has been keeping score. Every tear you cried in silence, every time you stood alone, every moment you chose grace over anger, it all counted. And now it's returning to you in strength, in clarity, in peace. You don't have to lift a hand against them. The weight of their own choices is enough. Let them watch. Let them wonder. Let them whisper, because their noise does not shake your foundation. You've built it too well, with patience, with integrity, with grit. And now, every step you take forward echoes. It echoes through the rooms where your name was dragged. It echoes through the minds that once doubted you. It echoes through the lies, cutting through like light through fog. And while they scramble to rewrite the story, you keep living it. You keep rising. You keep moving. Because your focus isn't on proving them wrong, it's on proving yourself right. The future is already opening doors they thought they locked. Your purpose has already started unfolding in ways they can't touch. They thought you were buried, but really, you were planted. And now you bloom in places they never expected to see you again. They're exhausted, not because you fought them, but because they fought against a force they could never beat. True, you are the living proof that goodness wins, that staying grounded is power, that storms don't destroy, they reveal. You walked through their chaos and came out clearer. They hurled hate, and you responded with healing. They sowed confusion, and you answered with clarity. And what terrifies them most is this: you didn't become bitter. You didn't mirror their darkness. You didn't let their cruelty make you cruel. You chose love. You chose vision. You chose forward motion. That's real power. Power is not in how loud you can shout. It's in how quietly you can grow. It's in the way you show up anyway, focused, kind, unshaken. Now your presence changes things. It shifts energy. It calms storms. People notice. People feel it. Because light speaks louder than words ever could. You don't have to declare your strength. It radiates. You don't have to expose their lies. The truth already shines through. And deep down, they know it. That's why they keep watching. That's why they try harder to tear you down, because nothing they've done has worked. They hoped you'd break. Instead, you broke records. They hoped you'd quit. Instead, you created. They hoped your silence meant defeat. Instead, it meant focus. And now, they don't know how to respond. Their playbook no longer works because you're no longer playing their game. You've risen above it. And from where you stand, the noise doesn't reach you. Let them talk. Let them plot. Let them shout. You walk. You build. You rise. Every effort they make to drag you down only digs their own pit. Every word they speak in malice circles back. Because darkness doesn't get the final say, light does. And you are light. Your role is not to sink to their level. Your role is to keep climbing. Every new level you reach inspires someone watching. Someone who almost gave up. Someone who thought they were alone. Your rise is a blueprint, a roadmap, a signal to others that surviving is not the end, thriving is. That you can go through the worst and come out better, not bitter. You are more than what happened to you. You are what you chose to become despite it. And that choice? That's your superpower. That's what they can never take. You walk with grace because you've earned it. You speak with clarity because you fought for it. You shine because you never stop believing that light lives inside you. You may not always see it, but there is a light inside you that's more than just brightness. It's not just about being good or shining quietly in the dark. Your light is a force. It has power. It exposes lies, uncovers hidden truths, and drives darkness away like the sun burns away fog. Some people won't know how to handle that. They'll feel uncomfortable around you, not because of anything you've done, but because who you are makes their shadows harder to hide. The beauty of it is, you don't even have to fight them. You just have to be you. And that alone is enough to make the room shift. You were never meant to blend in. You're not a mirror reflecting the world. You're a spotlight. You don't just show people what they look like. You show them what they're afraid to see. That kind of light doesn't just glow. It confronts. It demands honesty. And when people live in falsehood, your truth makes them flinch. So yes, some will hate you for simply existing, but let that hate slide off of you like water off stone. It cannot stick to who you really are. They can't stop you, and deep down, they know that. What they don't understand, they fear. And what they fear, they try to destroy. But here's the truth, their fear doesn't define your power, your purpose does. You were chosen, not randomly, not by accident, but intentionally. There's something in you that was written into the universe long before you could even speak your name. That story is yours alone, and no one can rewrite it. People may try to question your worth or interrupt your path, but it's like trying to blow out the sun with a single breath. Futile, laughable, even. You are protected in ways they can't comprehend. Your journey may be hard, but it's guided. Your steps may be slow, but they're steady. And every time someone tries to block your way, that invisible strength around you finds another opening. While others are busy plotting shortcuts, twisting stories, or wearing masks, you are walking a straight path built on something unshakable. And that makes them uneasy. You don't rely on illusions. You are real. You are solid. You are proof that there's something more powerful than manipulation. Truth. You are like a star hung in the night sky. No matter how many clouds gather or how many people try to dim your shine, your light still gets through. They can shout at it, reach for it, curse it, but they will never touch it. You were chosen by something far bigger than them, and that terrifies them. Because in you, they see what they wish they had: grace, clarity, peace. They see favor that doesn't fade, and it burns them up inside. It's not your fault that you keep rising. It's not your fault that every obstacle they throw in your path becomes a step you use to climb higher. They want to take control of your story, but the pen isn't in their hands. It's already been written in ink that won't fade, and you're just living it out. With every attempt to harm you, they only confirm how unstoppable you truly are. They think that pressure will break you, but all it's doing is sharpening you. Think of a blade being forged, heated, hammered, refined. That's what their attacks are doing for you. Every insult, every lie, every obstacle is turning you into something stronger. They don't even realize they're helping you. They think they're tearing you down, but they're building you up. Every harsh word, every betrayal, every attempt to block your light becomes energy inside of you. It adds to your fire. Instead of crushing you, it lifts you. They're stacking bricks hoping to build a wall, but you're using those bricks as stairs. They're lifting you to heights they'll never reach. And they're doing it with their own hands. This isn't just some feel-good idea. It's a pattern written into nature. Coal under pressure becomes a diamond. So does a soul that doesn't break. Where they see weapons, you see lessons. Where they try to crush, you rise. Pressure isn't your enemy. It's the sculptor that carves you into your strongest self. You might ask, why can't they just ignore me? The answer is simple. They can't ignore what threatens their comfort. Your growth reminds them of how stagnant they are. Your courage points out their cowardice. Your light shines on the parts of them they wish to keep hidden. So they attack, not because you're wrong, but because you're right. And it scares them. Your scars tell the story. Each one whispers, I survived. Each one is proof that nothing they tried has succeeded. If you weren't a threat, they wouldn't spend so much time trying to stop you. Think about it. No one tries to bring down someone they don't see as powerful. They stay up late, planning ways to dull your light, not realizing that their fear gives you more strength. Every time they plot against you, it only highlights how powerless they really are. And every time you take another step forward, it shows them they failed. Again, imagine waves slamming into a cliff. Over and over, they hit, but the cliff remains. That's you. They are the noise, and you are the rock. You don't move for the storm. You don't bend under pressure. You don't shatter, you endure. And over time, it's not the cliff that breaks, it's the waves. They look at you and see just a person, but they don't understand the force moving inside you. They thought they could bury you, not knowing you were a seed. They didn't realize that soil is not a grave for the chosen, it's a beginning. And what they meant to end you with only grew you. Now, you're blooming. You're stronger. You're wiser. You're rooted in a deeper truth than they can understand. And no matter how much they try to limit you, you continue to rise through the cracks. What they saw as a trap became your transformation. Your purpose is bigger than survival. You weren't meant to just get through things. You were meant to impact things. A river doesn't flow just to stay wet. It turns mills, cuts through rock, nourishes everything in its path. So do you. You are shaping your world in ways you don't even realize yet. And nothing they do can stop that flow. Their hatred and jealousy are building their own downfall. While they try to trap you, they're boxing themselves in. They're creating a prison out of the very lies they tell. And one day, they'll look around and realize they're stuck inside the mess they made, searching for a way out that doesn't exist. Evil always returns to its sender. Hate may take a while, but it always boomerangs. And it comes back stronger than it left. While they try to harm you, they're planting seeds of their own misfortune. Every crooked plan, every whispered rumor, every envious glance, it's all coming back to them, multiplied. You don't need revenge. You don't even need defense. The universe has already handled the outcome. Your only job is to keep moving, to keep shining, keep growing, keep walking forward. Light always wins. Darkness isn't a thing, it's just the absence of light. And the second your light enters a space, that darkness vanishes. It doesn't matter how long the shadows have lived there, your presence changes everything. Let them hide in the shadows. Let them whisper behind closed doors and spend sleepless nights trying to write speeches full of bitterness and blame. What they don't realize is that all this effort does is show how powerless they really are. Shadows can't win against light. Even a tiny flame, just one match, can break through the darkness. That's how fragile their power truly is. They push so hard because something about you makes them uneasy. Your presence alone disrupts the lies they've built their lives around. You walk with truth, and that truth makes them uncomfortable. When you remain calm, it reminds them of how often they've chosen noise, distraction, and drama. When you persist and stay focused, it highlights how quickly they've given up. You're not just doing your own thing, you're living proof that it's possible to live with purpose, to align your actions with meaning. And that makes them nervous because it reveals their own lack of direction. You haven't done anything to them. You've just lived honestly. But the fact that you exist this way forces them to face a hard truth. They could have lived with purpose too, but they didn't. They chose jealousy over growth, envy over effort. Now, every time you shine, their own story falls apart. You're the proof that their excuses aren't enough. Just like stars never ask the night sky for permission to shine, you don't ask for validation, you just glow. And no matter how many clouds they try to throw in your way, one small break in that darkness is enough for your light to break through. You are that break, that star. They may try to cover your name in gossip or fill rooms with rumors, but clouds always pass. You remain. Your light is not something others gave you, and it's not something they can take away. It doesn't come from approval or attention. It comes from something deep inside you, something strong and unshakable. You're powered by something much larger than public opinion. When they try to judge you using their small and fearful ideas, their tools fail. You don't fit in their boxes. You're not here to be measured by doubt. You're too vast for that. Have you ever noticed how stars appear brightest over the darkest places? That's you. Their negativity, their judgment, it's just the dark background that makes your light stand out even more. So let them talk. Let them plot. Every time they do, they only make your glow more obvious. The more they try to stop you, the more they accidentally promote you. They try to quiet your voice and end up making your presence louder. That's why they're so frantic. They can feel that the tide is turning against them. They try to stop a force that cannot be stopped. And deep down, they know it. They're not just afraid of your success. They're afraid of what it says about them. If you win where they predicted you'd lose, it means their words were never worth much to begin with. Your success exposes their failures, not the kind where someone tries and stumbles, but the kind where someone never even tries. You challenge their comfort zone. You make it clear that they settled when they could have soared. You remind them they once had dreams too, but unlike you, they abandoned them. They've spent so much time and energy trying to control the narrative, trying to define who others are. If you succeed outside of their definition, their power fades. Every step forward you take is a crack in their control. Every time you walk through a door they tried to keep shut, that door creaks open a little more for everyone to see. You are proof that their barriers were never real, just fear dressed up as authority. Here's the truth. Their attacks were never truly about you. They were about the emptiness inside them. Seeing someone walk with truth and purpose stirs a kind of ache in people who gave up on doing the same. If they could just slow you down, they thought, they might silence that ache. But that's not how it works. You can't silence internal pain with external wins. You can't fill a hollow heart by hurting someone else. So the more they lash out, the emptier they become. Meanwhile, you keep going. You rise, not because of them, but in spite of them. Ironically, every storm they throw your way becomes wind at your back. You've turned their resistance into momentum. Your path is powered by purpose, not pride. And when you walk through the very storm they created, carrying lightning in your hands, it terrifies them. Your journey is poetic justice. Every insult they've thrown, every trap they set, every door they slammed, it's all become evidence. Not of your failure, but of your strength. Watching you thrive makes their stomach turn because it shows the world how powerless they actually are. All the weapons they built to destroy you never even made a dent. They tried to write the end of your story, but the only story that's falling apart is theirs. They can't understand how you keep rising. They don't realize that every wall they built to block your way became a step beneath your feet. You turned their bricks into a staircase. You are the answer to the question they hoped no one would ask. What happens when someone refuses to bow to darkness? You are what happens. And now, as you continue to rise, even the skyline adjusts to your presence. They thought they had you locked down, but their chains don't work on someone built for flight. The energy they used to hold you back has circled back around. They meant to bind you, but they only ended up trapping themselves. Fear-built cages don't work on a free soul. The more they try to contain you, the more obvious it becomes they can't even keep up with you. Imagine a bird perched calmly while someone sets traps below. The bird doesn't argue. It doesn't fight. It simply flies away. And soon enough, the one who set the trap steps right into it. That's what's happening now. They built those traps with such confidence, thinking they were shaping your fate. But fate belongs to those who walk with purpose. And purpose doesn't answer to locks. They forgot a powerful truth. What you do to others will come back to you. The same force they used to grip you is now gripping them. They've trapped themselves. Meanwhile, you move freely. They try to close the sky, and it only opens wider. They try to hide your light, and it blazes even brighter. They try to bury you, and you grow right through the cracks. They keep asking why nothing contains you, and the answer is simple. Freedom is built into your very breath. Chains rust in the presence of freedom. The more they try to tighten control, the more it breaks apart. Eventually, the final snap will echo, and it won't be your wrist that feels the sting, it will be theirs. They sensed your power from the beginning, maybe even before your friends did. They saw your strength, and it scared them. So they tried to cover it, to bury it. But you are like water, you can't be stopped. Block the top, and you'll just burst out from the sides. While they chase you in circles, the only thing they'll hear is the sound of their own frustration. Meanwhile, you walk freely, leaving them behind, still rattling chains that no longer hold you. This is not arrogance. This is the natural result of the seeds you planted. What's planted with care will grow. What's pushed down will eventually rise again. They stood in front of a river, thinking they could stop it. But rivers don't pause. They carve paths through mountains. You didn't want this fight, but you didn't back down either. And now the storm has revealed something vital. You're standing on solid ground. Others are crumbling, but you remain. Year after year, wave after wave, you are still here. Stronger, steadier, more beautiful than ever. Like cliffs that outlast every storm. You don't carry revenge. That would weigh you down. You don't need to fight with bitterness. That's their shadow, not yours. You walk light because you've chosen growth over grudges. Your wins speak for themselves. They echo in places you've never even been. People hear your story and feel inspired because your story doesn't just belong to you. It belongs to anyone who has ever been underestimated, pushed down, or counted out. Let them wear themselves out. Let them swing at the light. But swinging at light is useless. It cannot be struck. Eventually, they'll tire. Their own weight will pull them down. And in that moment, the truth becomes clear. They didn't lose to you. They lost to themselves. You just happened to be there as a witness. And through it all, you keep walking. No bitterness. No revenge. Just quiet power. Steady grace. Unshakable purpose. While they dwell on the past, you are already shaping the future. And every day, the gap between you and them grows wider. You didn't climb to prove them wrong. You climbed because that's what you were born to do. And now, you rise because it's who you are. When everything seems like it's reaching a conclusion, remember that this is not the end. It's only another chapter inviting you forward. At the heart of that moment lies a simple, unshakable truth. Light never gives up. Storms may rage, chains may break, walls may crumble, and envy destroys itself from the inside out. But light? Light continues, just as natural and steady as your own breath. You are part of that light. You are the chosen one, the living, breathing spark turned into brightness. No cloud, no storm, no darkness can ever fully smother what is lit from within. When that stirring arises in your chest, that knowing that something bigger is unfolding, honor it. Drop 77 in the comments so you recognize other light bearers walking the same path. Let this be the signal. The shift has begun. What lies ahead? Only what moves you to the very center of yourself, something that will reach you deep in your core. Shadows make the most noise. They latch on, speak loudest, and grow imposing, but only until light speaks back. You, in your purest form, are that light. They stretch shadows across every step you took. Every path you made was accompanied by the threat of darkness, quietly pressed against you so you would question your own glow. They whispered in back rooms and crowded halls, painting your name with doubt, hoping the fog would swallow your vision. But they never grasped a fundamental truth. Darkness doesn't own anything. It borrows space until even a single spark arrives. The moment you stepped into the gloom they built, that darkness shifted from a threat into something weak and outlined by fear. Because a shadow only exists where light is stronger. Even the rumors they launched, the bits of confusion they tossed into the air, they floated right back to them. They believed their whispers would cloud your path, but the wind doesn't serve the whisperer. It obeys a greater design, cycling energy back where it came from. While they thought the haze would block your way, you kept moving. Each step you took revealed how fragile the darkness truly was. It was just a thin sheet of night drawn across a sunrise, something it could never truly outrun. Beneath their own feet, each rumor, slander, and hidden plot became another shovel load, deeper and deeper, until the pit they imagined for you opened beneath them instead. When they turned around, expecting firm ground, all they found was empty echo. You never had to spar with those shadows because you chose stillness in power. That kind of stillness that doesn't retreat but radiates. Your calm became a force field no slur could break through. You didn't need to answer every insult or chase every lie. You focused inward, letting your inner blaze grow, and quietly the simple truth shone brighter than any accusation. Their attempts didn't hold up. They cracked under the weight of your consistency because they weren't daggers aimed at you. They were cracks in their own foundation, trying to masquerade as attack. Every time they tried to darken a corner, your flame only highlighted your strength. Soon the space around you glowed so brightly that their stories looked like shadows, empty silhouettes without any real substance or color. In a panic, they threw on more darkness, but light isn't finite. The harder they pressed, the stronger you glowed. The contrast became unbearable for them. Only then did they realize you were never the target. You were simply the screen upon which their insecurity projected itself. They fought against the truth they refused to admit to themselves, while your steady light exposed it, wordlessly. All the while, they kept telling themselves that clever words could rewrite reality, and they sharpened their lies in the dead of night. But words possessed what might be called a recoil. Every accusation, every whisper, follows its arc through the world and returns to the one who released it, weighted with the intent that fired it. Their words did spread quickly. Whispers travel faster than daylight, but speed isn't strength. Truth moves slower, more solidly, like a river that slowly cuts through rock, enduring long after wildfire ash has scattered. Every rumor reached someone with a mind to weigh it. And when the listener compared it with your consistent character, doubt didn't grow about you. It grew around them, about the one who spoke. Trust in their mouths crumbled. Alliances formed and gossip snapped. In the quiet that followed, every twisted sentence echoed back to them, sharper than before. You watched all of this unfold, not with smug pride, but with a calm born of understanding that natural law always asserts itself. While they flattened layer upon layer of distorted narrative, you continued to live. You walked in a straight line. You woke up every morning with purpose. You acted with integrity. You let the plain truth of your life become your shield. They lit torches of scandal. You offered lanterns of action. They wove confusing webs. You laid down clear stepping stones. People who once listened to rumors eventually met you, saw you living in the light, and the contrast made everything clear. The doubters were silenced not by confrontation, but by reality. As their allies realized how hollow the stories were, the accusers were left facing questions they couldn't answer. Every new fabrication became another weight around their own ankles. Lies must be maintained. Drama requires energy. And that energy, once spent, is gone forever, never returned to the lives where it was meant to energize growth and creation. Meanwhile, you moved forward. They stayed stuck, patching cracks in structures built on sand. It became obvious to bystanders. The one throwing mud looked much muddier than the one it was thrown at. What of the structures they tried to build? Castles made from half-truths and shadow mortar? Without truth as foundation, cracks formed. They refused to see it. Instead, they obsessively fashioned facades, draped banners, celebrated victories that only existed in their own echo chamber. Meanwhile, each facade was riddled with faint cracks. The ground they stood on remained infertile. No roots took hold in that soil, and the higher they piled their false floors, the deeper gravity pressed down. What they didn't notice was the creak of beams under strain, the slow warning before collapse. You didn't poke or push. You didn't need to. All that was required was gravity and time. A simple gust of universal balance, and their entire structure folded inward, dropping them into the emptiness they built for others, or perhaps for themselves. And when the dust settled, only what had been true from the start remained. That ground, now stable and solid, belongs to you. Because your blueprint was built in truth. You never set out to prove them wrong or deal damage. You simply trusted the quiet design of your spirit long before doubt ever spoke its first sentence. You might overhear them asking if they should strike harder, make their attack louder. But louder doesn't mean stronger. It only means desperation. It traces the edge of panic that the world can feel. People start stepping back when the fury gets too loud. And suddenly, even their own allies glance at exits, fearful the collapse is coming and will take them along. Meanwhile, you stand steady. The less you engage, the faster their storm pulls inward on itself like a whirlwind devouring its maker. Every desperate gesture to stay relevant reveals their sinking deeper. The stage tips. The spotlight flickers. The applause scatters. Meanwhile, your quiet progress echoes like distant thunder, reminders that someone else commands the sky. Your legacy isn't built in public claims or loudbulb declarations. It's formed at the crossroads of rage and resolve. They pushed rage, but you invested in creation. They carved out insults. You carved paths. They reached for fleeting recognition, but you planted seeds. Seeds of kindness, of service, of purpose. Though unseen by many, these seeds align with your mission and grow roots no wind can rip free. Years from now, people will recall how your steady presence gave them courage, how your grounded voice helped them navigate fog. They'll remember you because memory values substance. Their names might be footnotes, cautionary tales of envy and collapse. But yours will be remembered because your walk showed the way. Every time their tongues form your name in anger, the audience turns toward you, not to see a battle, but to confirm your calm. Contrast is the teacher here. In time, a long, persistent tide moves forward, wiping away impulsive footprints while carving lasting forms in rock. Your work is the rock. Their drama is just footprints, now erased. If they complain that the tide is unfair, remind them that fairness isn't part of this. The difference lies in composition. Rock carries weight. Footprints carry nothing. When the water recedes, the shoreline glistens, but the cliff still stands tall. You, like that cliff, have been prepared to stand. This knowledge frees you from any need to stoop to their level. That kind of retaliation only drags the flight lower. You were drafted for higher air. Let them swing their swords of rumor until their arms tire. You stay anchored in purpose. Move on with your journey. Progress, not rebuttal, is your language. Progress echoes farther because it brings results, not arguments. Every purposeful mile you travel widens the distance between you and the noise. Each step curves the horizon, and before long you're out of sight. They remain fixated on how you slipped away, still trying to chase you down. Even now, their greatest fear is not that you survived. It's that you're thriving in plain view, and that your success spills hope for others. Your glow invites those stuck in darkness to ask, if they made it through, "Why not me?" You have become a living example that terrifies them more than any direct conflict ever could. So don't pause. Walk on. There is space ahead, space curated just for someone who refused to shrink. Each step lays another chapter in your story, written in ink that does not fade. These chapters will look back and show people the path through endless nights. You won't have to be there in person. Your living legacy, your recorded life, will guide. That is true legacy. Not a dust catcher statue, but a living map passed through generations long after the architect has moved beyond sight. Those who opposed you will witness this, either from afar or in passing whispers. But the world's attention will settle on you, the light itself. Opponents will fade, becoming shadows of shadows until even their names feel fictional, mere echoes of something that never truly was. This isn't vengeance. It's a natural fade out. Drama that loses relevance drifts away. Some may cling to bitterness as proof that they once mattered, but bitterness feeds nothing and soon dies. One morning, they'll set it down or be buried by it. The choice has always been theirs. But you remain a builder, a guide, a torchbearer. Your footsteps link possibility to action. Your calm voice steadies confused rooms. Your resilience teaches without needing to lecture. In this grand task, there is no room for gloating. Victory is far too busy opening doors to mock locked ones. Walk on then. Let doors swing open. Trust the route carved into your heart long before the first word of doubt was spoken. If any part of this message ignites something inside you, let that spark become movement. Comment 77 to show you're part of something greater. Like and subscribe. Share these words with anyone burdened by shadows cast by others. Every bit of light shared doubles in reach. Together, we rise beyond their schemes. Your journey moves forward and upward without ceiling, guided by a glow no shadow can claim. To our chosen family, thank you for inspiring us. Every like, every comment, every gesture of support means everything. You are the reason this continues. We're forever grateful for your encouragement. We will see you in the next video. Until then, take care, keep walking forward, and always remember, the light in you is untouchable by any shadow.